Every day continues to bring more good news as the country responds to the tax reform bill we passed in December. Bonuses, pay raises, investments in IRAs, and more wonderful things that are lifting the American people, in addition to all the economic indicators that continue to show the country is more optimistic and moving in the right direction. In terms of our business here, we're continuing the discussions on a caps deal. There are a variety of different conversations going on immigration. Senator Cornyn is in the middle of that and can address it. The President made a bold step in the direction of solving the DACA issue, and we're all interested in seeing what reaction, if any, our Democratic friends may have to that.
In addition to the reining in overregulation, appointing good judges, and then signing a historic tax code into law, President Trump has made a very generous proposal to the young people who came with their parents, they were brought into the country when their parents entered the country in violation of our immigration laws. But we are a country that believes that children shouldn't have to pay a penalty because of their parents' conduct, and so President Trump has generously offered 1.8 million of these young immigrants an opportunity to a pathway to full participation in American society. While the President has made a very generous proposal, our colleagues, Senator Schumer, Senator Durbin, have not so far responded with any counter proposal at all. And I hope they will take the advantage of the opportunity to do that soon. Senator McConnell has said he's willing to take a bill up on the floor on February the 8th, but that's in the event we don't come up with an agreement before then. But just as one indication of how one advocacy group, LULAC, the League of United Latin American Citizens, the president of the National LULAC organization, has endorsed the President's 4 pillars of his proposal, demonstrating a willingness to work with all sides to come up with a solution. I hope our Democratic colleagues will embrace that chance that the President has given all of us to come up with a real solution while securing our borders and fixing our broken immigration system.
Well, as the leader pointed out, the good news on tax reform just keeps on coming, and it is making a very positive difference in the everyday lives of the American people, whether it's in the form of bonuses or wage increases or increases in benefits. The announcements continue to come out. There are now 250 companies who have announced bonuses that affect more than 3 million American workers. And most recently, FedEx, as you saw, a $3.2 billion expansion announcement, $1.5 billion of that to be spent on improving the pension program for their employees. And of course, just yesterday, ExxonMobil announced a $35 billion expansion here in this country that will create new jobs and raise wages for their workers. Notwithstanding all this good news, the Democrats continue to refer to it, as the Democrat leader in the House said, crumbs. This is somehow crumbs to the American people. Well, the American people, for those who live paycheck to paycheck, find $1,000 bonuses and pay increases and benefit increases to be more than crumbs. And I think it points to a complete tone deafness when it comes to the needs that everyday Americans have and to the impact that good policies can have in improving their daily lives and their standard of living.
Well, we're often asked on the day of the State of the Union, if you had to fill in the blank, the State of the Union is, and then what they say. I would say the State of the Union is sound. Our economy is strong, healthy, and growing, and people across the country are seeing the impact, the results of the tax cuts and the tax relief from the Republican and Trump tax reform legislation. They're seeing the benefits of the cutback in all the regulations of the first year of President Trump's administration, and they're seeing the impact of the change in the judiciary with a number of judges that we have approved since President Trump became president. So tonight, as the President talks about building a stronger, safer America, as chairman of the Environment and Public Works Committee, I will tell you infrastructure is a large component of that. Making sure that we have the roads, the highways, the bridges, the dams, the ports, all of those things to help improve the quality of life of American people and our economy here at home. And there is nobody better, in my opinion, to participate and to lead that effort than Donald Trump, a person who has a long history as being a builder, an entrepreneur, and knows the impact of regulatory relief that we need to try to streamline the systems so that to make it easier to get projects started and finished on time. And we're looking to work with our Democrat colleagues in a bipartisan way, because so many of these projects aren't Republican projects, Democrat projects. They're projects that we need to continue to make our country stronger and safer.
I would say that the Senate, particularly Republicans in the Senate, are eager to move forward trying to deal with the opioid epidemic. The president's talked about this before. I'd be pleased to see him talk about it again tonight. But his leadership, some agreement on the money we're going to have available to spend in the CAPS deal will make a difference. You know, opioid deaths exceed car accidents in the country today as the #1 cause of accidental death. Every senator has stories to tell. The 16-year-old high school cheerleader in Springfield, Missouri, who had an accident, car accident, had pain medication, got hooked on that medication. 4 years later, is dead in a heroin overdose. The Johnson County, Missouri nurse's assistant had surgery, Vicodin, hydrocodone. 10 years later, she's lost her house, her job, her kids. There are lots of these stories to be told. The Congress, I believe, and I know the Senate, and particularly Republicans in the Senate, eager to move forward on that. I hope to hear the President say something about it again tonight. But whether he says it tonight or not, we need his leadership. We need to know how many resources we have to spend and get busy trying to make a difference in the lives of people that have been devastated by this epidemic.
Bipartisan group that keeps trying to lead to. Are you afraid that the president, with that plan that he put out, might be something that's not received well by conservative Republicans because maybe he went too far in that, and that could be a danger to getting it?
Well, look, I think it's pretty clear the overwhelming majority of the American people, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, think that this subset, the DACA subset, has a legitimate case to be made. And the President, as Senator Cornyn pointed out, has gone far further than anybody anticipated in offering a pathway to citizenship, not only for those who have applied, but for a larger group who are eligible. And to underscore what Senator Cornyn said, the endorsement of LULAC, not just of the President's DACA proposal, but the whole proposal, is enormously significant. Honestly, I've always thought LULAC was sort of a subsidiary of the Democratic Party. Apparently I was wrong about that, but I hope they do listen to the leaders of LULAC, who have said here in effect that what the President has offered is a reasonable proposal. That ought to break the ice. That ought to give us a chance to get an outcome. Nancy?
Are you concerned about the White House decision not to impose new Russia sanctions, and have you conveyed that to anyone at the White House?
Well, I would associate myself with Senator Corker's remarks earlier today. He addressed that issue and seemed to feel that under the circumstances, the administration did the right thing. Yeah.
The House Speaker, Paul Ryan, said today that he thinks that the House Republican memo on the FBI should be released to the public. I'm wondering, do you agree, and do you think that should be released? And do you have any concerns about how the FBI has handled anything in that regard?
Yeah, I don't have any observation about that. You know how we're handling this investigation in the Senate through the Senate Intelligence Committee, so I really don't have anything to add. Yeah, I don't have anything to add on that. Yeah.
On the question of special counsel, Schumer has said that he's going to be pushing to try to get the legislation to protect his job. Do you see a role here for Republicans to protect the Mueller investigation, as well as Rod Rosenstein? Potentially there's been some talk of his job.
Well, there have been a lot of stories about this, but my understanding is there's no effort underway to undermine or to remove the special counsel. Therefore, I don't see any need to bring up legislation to protect someone who appears to need no protection.
Can you say what would happen, in your opinion, either Rosenstein or
Look, I'm not going to address the hypothetical that could change the facts, but as of right now, I'm unaware of any official effort on the part of the White House to undermine the special counsel. And so I don't feel any particular need to reach out to protect someone who seems to need no protection.
Leader McConnell.
Yeah.
Can you help us understand, are budget talks and the debt limit running the risk of colliding into each other, and are you doing anything to prevent that?
Well, they've been colliding into each other for 3 months. If you couldn't hear the question, it was the immigration issue and the budget talks. They've all been going on almost simultaneously. But we do have a separate group of senators who are not involved in the spending cap discussion, talking about immigration on a bipartisan basis. And the news of the day is the president's proposal has been endorsed by LULAC, and it seems to me that ought to be a way to break through the impasse that we've experienced to this point. Thanks.